Namaste. I welcome everyone to the seventh Veda talk. Veda lecture series are organized inviting stalwarts in the field of disability, parents who have uh, first-hand experience in addressing the issues concerning with their own children, family members with disabilities. And we also look at wide variety of policy makers to contribute. And the main purpose of Veda Talk is to bring everyone under one forum and share and take the all the knowledge on a public domain. We have developed IRIEC, International Resource Center on Inclusive Education and Community-Based Rehabilitation. And all these video lectures are also documented as a library. Then it's also available on YouTube for the students, researchers, parents to access these lectures anytime. As I shared with you, the purpose of IRIEC is to create a forum where people can access knowledge through Veda lectures. Then we have Tina, Ask Tina, towards inclusion and networking, where parents and teachers and professionals can access any information related to Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act and UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. So there is a wealth of resources that is available on legislations and rights and human rights under inclusive education and CBR under IRIEC. Inclusion Bharat has a Atmanirbhar Samaj, which has a huge library, digital library of books, PDF, videos, PPTs, and a wide variety of formats where we have a global library people can access easily related to disability and inclusion. So, in addition to that, Veda also looks at bringing the latest policy research and document and disseminate. And we can find a wide variety of information, latest updates in Inclusion Bharat and the partnership market, which is named as Atmanirbhar Samaj Nirman. So where we people can post their CVs, their their experiences, their knowledge into the website, and those employers, universities, it could be NGOs or the government, they can also post their requests. So we are trying to bring people who need trained and qualified people and people who are already qualified who are looking for opportunities to work. So that forum is also created as a part of Inclusion Bharat portal. I request all of you to make optimum use of it, and I welcome you to this seventh session of the Veda Talk. There is one Veda Talk and one Veda workshop, which is organized every month. One looks at the skills and the other looks at the policy issues. So today I'm extremely happy to introduce a stalwart in the field of disability, very well known for everyone who is working in the field of disability, Srimati Kairali Nair ji. Who doesn't know Kairali ji? No. I get a feeling the whole world knows Kairali ji. So, very humble person, very knowledgeable, and with the in-depth knowledge on working with children. So, Kairaliji's specialty is I don't see her as a theoretical person, but someone who is always hands-on. Most of my discussions with Kairaliji is we always look at what can happen to this child, what is that is going to happen with the exam. So it is never more at the theory or policy level, but we go into the nitty gritty of what should happen with the child. So next slide, please. Kairali is comes from uh, for all practicable purpose, she is from Karnataka. So though her roots are from Kerala, so she is the honorary advisor in education of in Spastic Society. So she was integral part of Spastic Society because we have never seen Spastic Society, especially with Mrs. K. It is always like Mrs. K and Kairaliji. So that is the kind of picture I always have in my mind because always, they are together. Previous one, please. Previous, Bhavani. Yeah. She is Honorary Advisor of Education Spastic Society of Karnataka. Next slide, please. She has a BS and BSc B.Ed and a Maths graduate and diploma in nursery teacher training. And she has also completed, I think these are all very small achievements, diploma in specific learning disabilities and postgraduate diploma in learning difficulties. The knowledge of chirology runs to several PhDs. Next slide, please. She has worked in mainstream schools for over 10 years. That is the main strength of chirology. She really knows how the mainstream school education works. That is the reason why she has been able to contribute and work in many public school streams, including Delhi Public School, where I see a large number of mainstream schools are able to accept children because of chirology and Mrs. K with total commitment for inclusive education. She has been associated with Spastic Society for last 27 years, and she was the head of the department and principal of the Center for Special Education. And her expertise goes a lot with children with learning disabilities, even before learning disabilities was included into legislation like RPD Act. Chirology was completely dedicated to look at children with learning disabilities. So this, I must say that we did not wait for some legislations to come. So we responded to the needs of society, and chirology here is a classic example of starting working with children with dyslexia way back, say, I would say even in the late, say, 80s, where there was a focus on that to look at children with, say, learning disabilities. And she is the coordinator for National Institute of Open Schooling for over 20 years. So she brings a wealth of knowledge on how NIOS works and what are its strengths, what are its weaknesses, how we should overcome those weaknesses, and what is the role of both the NIOS at the central level and also the open examination system Karnataka has introduced. So she is going to share a wealth of knowledge on that. Next slide, please. So I welcome all of you for the talk by the stalwart, very simple, down to earth person who is extremely knowledgeable, and we are going to get a wealth of knowledge on how this entire evaluation system, which is the key in education, so how that is going to affect children and what kind of changes we need to bring in. So I request Kairalaji to enlighten us. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Dr. Indumati ma'am, for this wonderful introduction. I don't think I am worth for all those things. Whatever I have learned last 28 years is from my children, my colleagues. My children means, I mean my children with the special needs, my colleagues, and my very senior mentor, Dr. Krishnaswamy. And I've learned from the children. And all this adaptation, modification, accommodation are the words. First time I heard it when I stepped into SSK. Coming from a mainstream school, we know only about PTM or meeting the parents annual day. None of these things were known to me. And I have a great mentors like Dr. Indumati Rao. Anytime I can give her a call and I always get an answer for what I am struggling. So today she has asked me to talk about NIOS connecting with NEP. It's how it is going to implement the NEP 20. So that is my subject, very close to my heart, NIOS. But all the same, let me try to connect it with the NEPs and its involvement. Of course, as all of us present here know, NEP 20 is the most important document of Government of India in this century. And we are all hopeful, especially the parents of children with special needs, and of course, special educators, and also the leaders like Dr. Rao and Mrs. Krishnaswamy, and everybody is hoping that NEP 20 will become a reality and not a dream, and all our children will benefit. At least part of our children benefit. I should not tell all of our children benefit. So let us first look at two important points which for me to connect it with NIOS is I have put it across. Bhavani, can you put the slide, please? Before that, Bhavani, there is before that one first two. Yeah. See here, these two important points, apart from the hundreds of points which all of you know. Here, this I feel NEP recognizes the importance of creating enabling mechanism. It can be anything, enabling mechanism of providing children with special needs some same opportunities of obtaining quality education as any other child. It is not only not necessarily that every child goes to the class and sit down and but enabling a mechanism. NEP also recommends three choices for children with special needs for quality education. One is from through special schools, through neighborhood schools, that is mainstream schools, and also home-based education. Of course, we at special educators who have been in special school, like protected mothers, we feel always worried, will my child fit in the mainstream school? This is a worry, all of us have got it, because possibly we sit with the 10 or 12 children, we mother them, and we teach them one by one and take them to whatever the goal, not necessarily 10th and 12th, could be any rehabilitation possible. But let us hope a lot of schools will come forward and take our children, make our dream a reality. Next one, please. Now, National Institute of Open Schooling. Most of you have heard here, and many of them may not know the complete details. So possibly I'm taking the liberty a little later to go into detail what is happening now. Even much before the NEP 20 came, it was already been practicing inclusion and has helped innumerable children from SCGTG group, which come, of course, includes our children also, and for either completing the school education or vocational training. NEP has mentioned much more of involvement of NIOS now in this implementing this program. Obviously, NEP has accepted whatever they are doing now. They do not want any change except adding more values and for implementing the inclusive education. Next one, please. Some of the new recommendation which is so far come out when I spoke to the regional director, these are the only things which has come out. I'm sure there are many more which is not open yet. Possibly it will be coming in sooner or later. There are new recommendations are to facilitate learning for all students with learning for all students with special emphasis on SCGT. So they are telling the NIOS has to facilitate in a various ways the learning of all children from SGD group, and which includes our children also. Educational provisions for out of school children through open schooling. It's a very, very important point because when NEP is implemented and regular school started, surely a child of 14 cannot enter a class 4 or class 5 or class 6. There is an age for each class, with whether it is a government school, whether it is CBSE or ICSE. But the children who are dropped out are all over India. And especially after the COVID, we need not to tell how many children are dropped out. And also our children with special needs. So many children get dropped out. Possibly, especially with the children with the physical disabilities, a stage reaches, the parent is not able to carry the child and bring the child to the special school. However, it may be a free education or it may be very little paid. All facilities are there, but we have to understand the poor parent have to carry the child to the auto. And I am talking only about the children who are belonging to the poor families. I'm not talking about the people who can drop them by car. But still, some of them take up the jobs. Both the parents take up the jobs. After all, they cannot live their life for the child. The child is left alone at home, and very many children do not come to school. So once in a way, when there is a function, when there is, we send a vehicle, the children come. This is, I've talked to, it is with the Spastic Society of Karnataka also, and also with many people. 10 years they bring, and they think enough is enough. Now let me concentrate on my thing. So now they have given NIOS this role, bring out those dropout children and put them into an education. So where open schooling becomes very important for these children. carefully tracking students and their learning level. It is not only enough to find out the children who are dropped out. You have to also see what level are they. Did they leave when they were in grade 3, or when did they leave when they had the knowledge of grade 8, or did they leave when they were about to write the 10th board examination? So this is one thing. Next one, please. Bringing back out bringing back out of school children to continue education through open school. So they are insisting if the age is a problem and if they are not able to join the mainstream schools, whether it is government school or whether CBSE schools, get them through open school. Of course, open school, they cannot learn themselves. There must be so many private NGOs or private people tutoring. But whatever way, bring them back through open school and educate them. Overhauling of curriculum to make it more engaging, because sometimes children who are coming back to school after many years of gap or many months of gap, they want something very interesting. Otherwise, they are not interested to learn social studies or business studies or home science or biology. It has to be made very, very interesting. There is another job NIOS is planning, and I think they're off the way to make interesting materials. Strengthening the open school program, the scope of school education to be broadened to facilitate multiple pathways, that is involving formal and informal education. So when we say with the special children, when you want to rehabilitate the children, it is not absolutely necessary that the child has to complete 12th and graduation. It is good if they can do. It is perfectly all right if the child drops out at 8th grade and do a skill training and become a productive citizen of the family and as well as the society. So that is what the NIOS has been given a responsibility. Next one, please. So now NIOS has already started. I mean, this much only I have come to know, but I'm sure there must be so many things coming in the way. And as I'm talking this, all of you must be aware, or some of you must be aware, last year, NIOS received a UNESCO big award for developing the sign language. And that was a very, very important milestone in special education. And also they are introducing now sign language as a subject for children. So that will come long way for the peers to know the sign language so that they can help the other children. Now, the ventures they have started, strengthening the ECE program. They have an early child education program, another skill training, vocational training. And some of you may recall about 3 years back, the government education department, when they did a survey, they found thousands of teachers, especially in the smaller classes in the ECE, they had joined just after 10th, like a helper or something, and they continued to be teachers. So that the government did not want it to continue because they should have some qualification. So NIOS came forward and they did the training for lakhs of teachers all over India, especially in the northern part of India. And so they are going to strengthen this program. Preparing a structured curriculum for open basic education. I'll be talking in detail about open basic education a little later. At the moment, open basic education, which is elementary school education, they are following the NCERT curriculum or CBSE curriculum. But NIOS has decided to make their own curriculum, just like secondary and senior secondary, to make it easier with the modified language or simple sentences, which will be coming out soon. And then they've also, during the COVID time, they realized the difficulties of the children. More dropouts were coming out. So they decided to introduce one more vocational training instead of an academic subject, so that the children can comfortably, at least the children who are able to comfortably pass and can do a skill training if not going for higher education. And they also come out with a virtual school program, about which I will discuss with you later, which was launched, I think, a couple of months back. And supporting homeschool program. Before, NIOS did not take it on their head to support the homeschool program. If somebody approached them for an open basic education, they did help them, but they did not support. Now, with an option for a homeschool available with the NEP, and I think they are going to support the homeschool program more and more. And of course, last but not the least, scaling up the skill area. There are lots and lots of vocations courses available with NIOS, which are very down to earth, very practical for all children, and except for maybe with the very, very severely disabled children, but otherwise definitely for intellectually challenged, mild autism, or hearing impaired, visually impaired, learning disability, everything. And they are going to scale up that. That means they will be possibly introducing more and more interesting one in along with the NEP's program. NEP is also going to introduce skill areas from grade 6 onwards. So they will fall in line with that. Next one, please. Yeah. Now comes my, I would like you, this is the one format with, this is one thing I understood, the role of NIOS in implementing in the NEP. They play an integral part because ultimately what does NEP want? All the children should learn. There should not be dropouts. As much as possible, inclusive education should happen. It may not be 100%, but as much as possible. But here there is a partner who will see to that a lot of children who are dropped out or who are not able to come to school are also will benefit by the this education. That is NIOS. So I would like to quickly go through a little bit more about NIOS. I'm sure most of you know, but little more detailed how it is helping our children. Before reaching to that point, I would like to know, I would like to tell you what is all about. I would talk about what is NIOS and how different is NIOS from other boards, and also what are the courses offered at the moment as of now, and why is it specially suited for children with special needs, and also parents who want to start do open school for homeschool at home, how NIOS is the most suitable program. So let us see one by one a quick thing. And next one, please. Now, what is NIOS? NIOS started in 1989 as a part of CBSE. In fact, originally it started for the working children. You all will recall that there was a time there were a lot of children below above 14 and below 18. They were all working. So this program was brought in under the CBSE so that the working children in the evening can study and they can reach maybe a 10th grade at least. That is how it started. And it became a too big an open schooling program. So they came out and they became independent under the education ministry. The key purpose of NIOS basically to give education to the primary, secondary, senior secondary, vocation and life skill education for children with diverse needs. And it is always, it's a myth or it is misunderstood that only children with diverse needs or special children can enroll themselves into NIOS, which is not correct. I mean, I will wanted to tell somewhere in the middle, but now only when I remembered I am telling. Anybody and everybody can join. Now there is a trend of children, very bright children who are studying in the CBSE or ICSE. After 10th, they join the NIOS for 11th and 12th. The reason? Because if they work for 2 or 3 hours, they need not even need a teacher to teach them. They are bright kids. But they want to go for coaching classes for all the big examination. So they find this as very convenient. They spend 2 to 3 hours working on the subjects and continue to go for that, and they crack all the things. So it is definitely not, it is only meant for children with disabilities. It is par with the CBSE, and also children who are all doing the tennis or dance classes or any other sports. They may need practice the whole day. So they may not be able to attend a school. So they also attend. So I wanted to remove the myth from everybody that NIOS is only for children with disadvantaged children. It is not correct. They are benefited mostly, but not necessarily for them alone. Next one, please. Now, how different NIOS? Why are we talking so much about NIOS? And especially person like me who always wanted children to achieve something. Why am I talking so much about it? NIOS follows the principle of freedom to learn, which means that the students can decide what to learn, when to learn, how to learn, and when to appear for the exam. Isn't it a great thing? We need not to, they can do so many other things, multiple things, especially children of the age between 14 to 18 when they are doing the 10th to 12th. There are so many other things they want to do it. In a structured school, may not give them that much of space. So those who are really interested, I am not telling that they should not go to school. They are getting the social attention, which we always feel. Socially, they will be aloof when they are doing an open school. But when they go for all these programs, they are benefited immensely. At the same time, they are also academically benefited. And NIOS offers choice of subjects, medium of instruction, credit accumulation, transfer of credits, and validity of admission. Let me go. Choice of medium of instruction. Originally, when it started, it was only English. But over the years, they found the need for vernacular languages. Now, most of the states have agreed, and we find a child can write the full NIOS thing in Kannada, or in Tamil, or in Oriya, or in Arabic. Any of many languages, most of the languages. I'm not telling all languages, but most of the languages they can write. So that is a big thing. Choice of subjects, which is we have, they're not to worry, they have to do the science subject separately, art subject separately, but they can do any subjects. Out of the 11 subjects they have, they need to choose only 5 subjects. It will be surprising to know some children, they take science and along with that they will take social study also. They may take home science and they may take physics also, because it is their choice what they can do, how they can do. And it will be surprised to know many students who join the college from the elite colleges, they come back to do physics or biology or some subjects because they want to become something, maybe a commercial pilot or something like that. So this opening is excellent of choosing any subjects. And then comes the credit accumulation. That is, the child can write one subject at a time, maybe out of the 5 subjects, one at a time, because they are given 9 chances before they clear the 10th board. So the 9 chances, there are children, especially some of my children who are borderline mental retardation. So they could not have written all the 5 subjects, 5 books. I don't think they will ever be able to learn. So they did overlearning. They might have did rote learning, but one teaching and one subject at a time. So you have got 9 chances to complete the education. They have done it, but they may not remember it, the topics, but they have done it, which helped them to get something else. It is not that they remember that topics or subjects, but they help them to get into whatever skill or college what they wanted to. So this credit accumulation, each time they get the pass, they add it on and they give a certificate. But at the end, they never tell you that you have cleared the 10th after 5 attempts or 10 attempts, which is always the worry of the parents, because they just give the accumulated certificate. And the validity of admission, that is what I was telling. It is first time when you join it, it is valid for 5 years. And then you can again get admitted for next 5 years and carry over the subjects. Suppose the child has finished 5 years, maybe the child was unwell or traveled, whatever may be the reason, the child could do only 3 subjects and the 5 years are over. Get yourself readmitted, carry over those 3 subjects, which is, I think it's a fantastic, and do only 2 subjects, make it together into 5 and they can pass. Next one, please. Now let us see what are the courses offered by NIOS, which is most of the people know there are 10th is there, 11th and 12th, very few people know. After 10th, they all think about only the PUC. But they have open basic education. I will tell you in detail afterwards. Secondary, senior secondary, vocational training, life skill training program by itself, or in combination with the your secondary or senior secondary. Next one, please. Now, what is OBE, which is very little known about OBE? It is called Open Basic Education Program, equivalent to our elementary program of the regular school. That is, they have got two programs, one for children below 14 years, and one for children above 14 years. That is, comes into the adult education, which we will not discuss here. And this has got three levels, which has got a level A, which is equivalent to grade 3, level B, which is equivalent to grade 5, and level C, which is equivalent to grade 8. Next, please. Now, who can enroll in OBE? One must be wondering, the children can go to the elementary school. Why cannot they go? Why should they enroll in OBE? So now there are two cases. One, there are children, migrant laborers children are there somewhere. And suppose some school, some center, which is an accredited center, which gives only the interest of enrolling them, not in the school, but at home, they give them the material. They can pass grade 3, grade 5, grade 8. That is from that group. From our disability sector, I'm sure all the parents would love to have a certificate the child has got. And it is regularly after grade 3 who gives a government certificate, except NIOS. So when the child finishes grade 3, NIOS issues a joint certificate by the accredited center and NIOS, that is Government of India, recognized certificate. So if tomorrow, if the child is ready to enroll into a mainstream school, they have to consider the subject. The child cannot be put back into grade 1. Child can go to grade 4 directly. And any child who has completed 9 years can join B, level B, that is 5th grade. Not necessarily the child has to go through the grade level 3. Suppose the mother has taught the child at home. There are a lot of parents, by the time till they accept the reality of the disability, and it takes years. But the meanwhile, of course, they keep on teaching them. Mothers are the best teachers. They keep on teaching the children. And if you look at the material and you feel if your child is ready for grade 5, you can directly enroll the child for the grade 5 and give more help and get into that. And a child who has completed 12 years can go into level C, which is equivalent to grade 8, which also there are a lot of children who drop out and they go from one city to one town or one village to the other village. They can directly join, provided there is somebody who comes forward and assess the child informally. No need to get a formal assessment. Yes, the child has got the capacity, ability, knowledge to do the grade 8 syllabus. So that child, that is the, what about the OBE? Now, who is having OBE in generally? There are a lot of schools who are running NIOS as a privately by individual group of people, or big schools we are running like First Society of Karnataka or Delhi Public School or many schools, Cathedral School, who are all having the NIOS secondary and senior secondary. They also have the open basic education also. And next one, please. Now, next comes the secondary course. After the OBE is over, secondary course. This is very well known because this is where people know NIOS. What happens in a mainstream school? And the child is going to a school and it is the child has to be promoted every year. That is a rule. The child reaches the grade 8 and the school sees the child hardly can read or hardly can do any work. And they say the child cannot continue 9th and 10th. The results will be affected and the child cannot cope with the subjects. At that time, very nicely, the school tells, maybe you should try some other schools. Some of them who have got a knowledge, you say, maybe you should try some NIOS school. But does it mean that anybody who cannot read and write can do NIOS? Definitely not. NIOS has got the children with the cognition intact only can do. But children with the borderline intelligence also can do with all the flexibilities. So when that 8th grade child is thrown out of the school, where does the child go? Many schools will not take. They definitely go into these private people who are teaching the secondary course or senior secondary course, and they go. So That is why many people know about 10th and 12th, 10th alternate education is NIOS. And who can enroll? Any student who has completed grade 8 and has completed 14 years. And also, surprisingly, which I had personal experience, any child who has never been to a school, the child was at home, but has got the 8th grade knowledge. We had in our center, we had a young girl brought by some parents to look after their multiple disabled child. So this girl of maybe 11 or 12 years, she used to be in the classroom from grade 3, grade 4, grade 5. Along with the child, she used to go. Somewhere we noticed she's very smart. When the class teacher goes out for 5 minutes, she's standing there and teaching the other children. She just learned by herself, nothing. She's from a remote village. So somewhere I was thinking, why not we put her for higher studies? We took her into our Inclusive Education unit, which starts from grade 6, went on to grade 6, grade 7. She passed 10th, she finished 12th. And I asked her, do you like to go to college? She said, no, ma'am, I want a job. That's what my parents are. Will be very happy. She did a library course and she is working as a librarian in one of the very well-known school, and she has hired an apartment and living. So what I'm trying to give this message, it is not to talk about the child, but there are children who have the ability to of grade 8, but we may not know. We always look forward at 5, 6, 7, 8, then only 9, 10. Not necessarily if the child has got the ability, can read, write, can comprehend, why not the child do the secondary also? So there is in the form, there is one line, there is a little column when you're doing the admission says, you can write, I am capable of doing a secondary course of NIOS. If you fill and sign it, you're eligible for getting the admission. So the student has to take only 5 subjects out of the 11 or 12 offered, 5 subjects, and with 1 language, which is very, very comfortable for children with some ability to study. Next one, please. Now, senior secondary courses equivalent to our 10+2 system, 11 and 12, the same here also. Now, who can enroll? Any child who has completed 10th from any stream. It does not matter CBSE, ICSE, State Board, or NIOS, does not matter. The child can enroll, and they have to, but it is a must to have a 10th certificate. Otherwise, they cannot directly enroll. And they also have to take only 5 subjects. Maximum number, they can take 7 subjects. If the child is very enthusiastic and capable of studying, otherwise only 5 subjects. Next one, please. Vocational program, which is very, very good in NIOS, wide range of vocational program. There are standalone courses, which means when the child is in the 10th grade, when the child has to take 5 subjects, 1 language is compulsory. That means there are 4 subjects. Now this child can take 3 academic subjects and 1 standalone course like baking, needlework. There are some certain 10 vocational courses are given. The child can take that course, study there from wherever she's taking, depending upon the child's ability, physical as well as the mental ability, and get a separate certificate for that, and combine these both certificates, and here he or she gets the 10th certificate. It applies for the senior secondary also, and there are got any number of 6 months courses, and which is very good from DTP onwards to beehive onwards. And they also have got early childhood education, hospitality, taking care of the aged, any number of them. Anybody is interested, you can go into the website, because I didn't want to put all these things and waste the time. Everything is available there. 6 months courses are excellent. Next one, please. Now, everybody wonders, how do my child get admission to the NIOS? Who helps you? There are accredited agencies. If you go into the NIOS, you can see there are accredited agencies all over Bangalore, all over India. In fact, compared to the north and south, there are less accredited agency. In the north, a lot of remote areas, NIOS is very, very popular. So these accredited agencies are supposed to help. The students can fill the admission form. Once the admission is filled, now it is all online. Till about 4 or 5 years back, it was offline, and the agencies or the parents themselves can fill in. And whatever the minimum amount, which is really minimum when you compare to the mainstream schools, when you have given it, you find which is your nearest accredited agency. And if you are part of a school, they will help you. Otherwise, you have to go and give a form into that accredited agency. There is a regional director and an office which is very, very cooperative, very helpful. And you can always go personally there. The parents can go personally. They will help you also. And also all the information. In fact, whatever information I am giving is from the website only. Only thing is I am putting it together and trying to put it together to see that they are very special for our children. Next one. Next one, please. Now comes my favorite topic, NIOS and children with special needs. How has it been over the years? How helpful it has been? Why it has been helpful? The special centers are called SAIED, that is Special Accredited Institution for the Education of the Disadvantaged. I think there could be maybe 3 or 4 in whole of Karnataka. We have it. That's all. Spastic Society of Karnataka is one. Why they chosen is there will be other agencies or the regular schools. They may not know much about the special children, what they need, what accommodation they need, how can we help the parents when the poor people come. There will be a lot of stories. Somebody must be suffering from an illness. All those things they do not have they may be wanting to do it, but they may not have the time or energy to do it. So this is the SAIDs are specially meant for special children. We can take other children also, but no child can be refused in SAID when they come for an admission. The flexibility with regarding to choosing of subjects and scheme of examination are of great help to our children. When I say flexibility, now a child who is not so good in learning so much of content takes English, which is not so difficult, or Kannada or whatever the subjects, then takes the home science and then take maybe business studies or social studies. There is a very interesting subject called Bharatiya culture you take. Then the child takes the one vocational subject. So already, and the data entry, which is easy, and scoring, 5 subjects are already over. So that helps the child very much, the flexibility of choosing the subject. Nobody says you have to take social study, you have to take science, nothing like that. According to child's abilities, which is the teachers or parents are aware of, they can choose the subject. And then the certification after each OB, which is great help for whatever it is meant. One, make the parents and children very happy. Second one, for whatever little skill training they want to do, maybe a grade 3 may not be very suitable, but grade 5 and definitely grade 8, there are a lot of skill areas training available outside in the private sectors. The 8th grade certificate after completing OBE helps the children for skill training, because there are now with the skill development which is coming so much in popularity, they all ask for 8th grade certificate, and just giving an 8th grade certificate without a proper tradition, many people may not take it. Then also it is an incentive. Suppose the child gets into a skill training and gets into a job, whatever it is suitable for the 8th grade, the child is, if somebody can prompt the child, why don't you do your 10th? Maybe you get the promotion. That also is a thing which we have done it, and it's very successful. Next one, please. NIOS examination system allows students to complete the papers at their pace. Actually, every year there are 2 exams. So initially we never tell the children, we tell the children you have to write 5 subjects. Yes. But what we can do is you can make them do 2 subjects thoroughly and write at the end of the year. So they don't see so much of content in front of them and the number of books, because it is the same standard as CBSE. There are 32 lessons in home science. There are 25 lessons in English, or 30 lessons in some other things, some other subject. So seeing the volume, the children will get very, very upset. So we tell them the two subjects, we take them thoroughly. And in fact, it is overlearning or over teaching. And if somebody volunteers, or the parents who are able to teach them, and we give them all the help with the what NIOS itself, it is so very well written books. End of it, there's very important points, and then they give you all the old question papers of last 10 years. With all these things, we find with the two subjects very easily, most of the children can pass. The children who can complete OBE, yeah, OBE secondary and senior secondary through homeschooling, or through special educators, through our private tutors, or through mainstream schools where NIOS is an alternate board. Now, especially in Bangalore and also in many big cities, what many schools have done, where we all have tried our best, and some we are successful to a certain extent. As I mentioned in the earlier, we have told them, why don't you start a NIOS board along with your CBSE or ICSE or whatever it is. So many of them have it now. It is only in the big cities. If you go to Mysore, there is only 2 or 3, and smaller cities you may not have even one. But when they do that, it's a great advantage for the children. When they finish the 8th grade, no child wants to leave that school which the child has been there from grade 1. So much of attachment to the name of the school and to the name of the teachers. But when if NIOS is introduced, if they can be together all the time. They are together in the PT period, they are together with the music, art, annual day, everything. Only during the subject period, they are taught separately, and they get the NIOS certificate. Same time when these children are passing out CBSE, they get it. And it is slightly more easier to convince the parents by doing this to introduce NIOS, otherwise parents are not willing. So children with the language processing, as we all know, a lot of our children have got language processing difficulties. It is not only the specific learning disability children. Many children have got problem with the processing in the language. And to do a paper, they need not to they can take only one language. They need not to go into the 2 languages. One language is enough, they will be qualified. Next one, please. Now, students with concept understanding, which again is very common with our children. Many of them have got difficulty for understanding concept understanding because of their various special needs. They can drop maths and science. They need not to do, they can learn the functional maths. Whatever is needed for your life, they can learn it from the school, wherever they are, or from the tutors, which is what they need for when they get an employment, or for even for in a sheltered workshop. They need that basic thing. They can learn, but they need not have to know the 9th grade or 10th grade or 11th grade maths, which they can drop conveniently. And word processing and vocational subjects are more scoring. Always word processing, because, and our children like it. Vocational training and word processing, because it's a hands-on. Who does know? Which child do not like computers? So the scoring becomes easier, then the average becomes better. And anyway, it is a minimum passing mark is only 35. So they always score very good marks. Maybe in Viva, some of the children get little less marks, but usually they do get good marks. Then our introduction, now painting and music are 2 subjects they have introduced about 4 or 5 years, and I believe many more such courses are coming, which is very good. As we all know, our children are specially gifted. Some of them are with the painting or music or dancing. All these extra abilities are plenty. If they can make use of it as an academic subject and clear 10th, why not? It is a great thing which has happened. Next, please. So, as I mentioned, taking one vocational subject instead of an academic subject helps, because normally the economics, for example, many children find it very difficult. They rote learn it, but even then difficult. So many of them, they do not take that subject. Instead of them, they would love to take a baking. And if it is available in the same school or neighborhood schools or somewhere, why not? They do that and get a certificate. Now, during 21-22, NIOS has introduced one more uh, convenience for the children, one more vocational subject they've introduced. This vocational subject is just like home science, hospitality, and there are 2, 3 subjects, information technology, and it can be taken instead of a academic subject. That means it boils down to you need to take only 3 academic subjects. It helps children to develop area of interest. We may wonder, a child who is a science student, when he is showing so much of interest in philosophy or in social study, and normally we don't encourage, oh, you are a science student, why don't you continue with the science? But here they have given an opportunity to learn. Maybe some of the children, we have seen it, some of the children have developed philosophy, which is interest, and they have done a graduation in philosophy, or it could be stitching, or it could be baking. Lots of children go for higher studies for the baking also. Next one, please. As I mentioned a little earlier, the credit accumulation in NIOS helps the children to learn well and get good marks. And after all, even they are NIOS learners does not mean that they should not score 80%. Why shouldn't they? They also can score maybe 98 or 99 or 100. They may not be able to score. So when they do the credit accumulation, that is writing only 2 subjects at a time, there are students who have scored 80, 85. I've seen many of them have done it. So that is a great help. The system of having 2 public exams, again, is very good. As I mentioned to you, a lot of children with borderline intelligence, where they find it difficult to study, it is not that easy for them, even mild intellectual disabilities. What they do is they take one subject, and the perseverance, and with the good parents and really good teachers and excellent volunteers to support them, they do just one subject. The child has no problem. The child comes to school only to do one subject. Many people privately, they are doing it. One subject, the child becomes thorough, writes in March, April, the next one October, and completes their studies. So the system is very good. And then there is one more very special one. It is only available with NIOS, is on-demand examination. When a child is ready, when the tutor, I mean, child may not be able to tell in so many words, when a tutor feels this child is ready, but oh, the child has to wait for another 3 months for the government exam, what a waste of time. At that time, all they have to do is write a letter to the regional director telling that the child is ready to write the exam. They will create a paper and they will get a center, and the child can go and write the exam. On-demand exam. We had cases of, I've experienced children with autism. They prepared the parents. Actually, the parents are learning the NIOS, and the children will come out with some answers at random, which we have to quickly write down before they change their mind. And they come to the center, they come and sit inside, and suddenly they will get up and say, I'm not writing today, and then just go out. And after a week or 10 days, the child says, I'm ready to write. They are good functioning thing. So this on-demand exam is really a boon for these children. Next one, please. And then all the connection with the accredited agency is the PCP, that is Personal Contact Program. 30 personal contact programs they do. They do not teach the lessons, but there has to be the accredited center teachers who are all in charge of the NIOS. They will help the children clarifying the doubts, revising the difficult portions, doing the old question papers, and also there are some TMA, tutor marked assignments, and all these things they happen. It is a great thing for children with special needs. What happens, especially the teachers who know about special needs, when they see the children, they know to a certain extent what are the special needs being in the classroom. They can tell the parents, look, you've got so many facilities, you may not be knowing, you've got these type of relaxations available. Please go and get a certificate. And so much of rapport they build between the teachers and the parents and the children, which is a great thing. And they form a little social community. And also sometimes they meet the children of the regular school, and they have little functions, they invite them. So they have a social background happening there with this PCP or personal contact programs. They have teaching materials in audiovisual tools, which is of great help, which is available, and sign language also now it has come. And teaching materials are also available in radio and TV channel, the government ones, which I can't remember the names now, but some the ones which is the government sponsoring ones, they have it. Next one, please. Now, I was talking about this virtual School of NIOS, which is launched, I think, about 6 months back and something like that, sometime in early 22. It is a new model of learning and is an example of how leveraging technology and innovation can facilitate learning. The school is first of its kind, an initiative taken by NIOS in the country, which will provide advanced digital learning platform. It will be an online platform for children from 9th to 12th. All technology will be used, and all the assessments will be done through the technology. The teaching will be done. All the questions and answers are done through the technology, which hopefully, I believe they have just started with some children have registered, and hopefully it will become a hit with the children, especially the children who love technology and are not interested to learn subjects otherwise. The initiative will also help to bridge the gap between the lack of infrastructure resources available for students with special needs. Some areas they may not have a proper infrastructure or technical availability or assistive technology and things. For these children, it will be of great help. Next one, please. Now, the various accommodations provided for children are of great support. Most of you must be knowing it. And most of the accommodations are given now, CBSE and ICSE and State Board also. But NIOS had started this much before. Some of the accommodations are use of computer during the examination and augmentative communication board or braille typewriter or jokes and seating arrangements as per the needs. Suppose there is a child with attention deficit and the child's sensory needs are different. So the child is given a separate room and the child can sit and write the examination. And even when the flying squad comes to check up whether you are doing everything in order, they will, if they are explained, they understand, they're very good at that way. And presence of caregivers in the room, especially for the children with mainly with autism and a lot of behavior problems. Sometimes even we teachers are not able to manage them. We may not know what are the signs which their mothers have taught them. So they can sit little far away, they can sit there and the child can write, which I thought, which was surprisingly, which was very good for children with autism. Maybe they are feeling secure, I do not know. They will just look once, every 10 minutes, they look at their caregiver or the mother or father, whoever has come with them, and which is really one great accommodation. And also, we of some schools who understand these children, also we do. Some of the children suddenly write 2 or 3 question paper answers and just sit up and look at you and smile. Very often we have no idea what is that message. So if we have some idea, we always ask the children who are coming from other schools, what are their problems? What are they makes them happy? So we tell them, do you want to go and have a run around the campus and come? They'll be so thrilled. They just go around one round and come. I mean, I cannot imagine from an examination hall, we trust a child to go out and run and come back, and the child writes. And of course, extra time is given for the children to write. For every 1 hour, you get another 20 minutes extra. Scribe and reader. Many children, scribe is excellent. Reader facilities, they may not be able to read. So the reader is given, the person can read and give. Sometimes reader comes scribe. But everything you have to take permission from the board. You cannot just decided accredited agency or the parents cannot. There are forms, but which is very good so that there is no difficulties, So somebody has to tell them these are the problems of the child. This child needs this accommodation. And practical, many children with the cerebral palsy, with the no hand functioning, cannot do the practical work. So they can do projects. They can do projects. It is allowed. They will be given marks for it. Yes, next one. Now, I was just mentioning in earlier, before homeschooling was done by parents out of their choice, many of them, not necessarily children with the special needs. There are, many countries are doing so. Possibly we are imitating. A lot of people doing homeschooling, and they follow the curriculum, and some schools possibly allow them to come and write the examination. I believe they can laterally they can enter and write the 10th exam. I'm not very sure about it. But for our special children, now NEP is agreeing that homeschooling will be allowed and it will come under another mainstream school. It's fine, all their needs are met. So such children, if they are doing NIOS, which is very, very comfortable for them, the flexibilities of the NIOS will suitable for the ideal program. Next one. It's an ideal board for homeschooling. It is a recognized board. Now, parents always worry when I am doing a homeschooling, it is not from CBSE because the child is not admitted there, it's not ICSE. But if you are doing the open basic education, it is recognized by NIOS board. Actually, really speaking, there are only two national boards in India. One is CBSE and one is NIOS. And children can complete the OBE program and can register for or automatically they can register for the 10th and 12th, and they can pursue all their interests. And even children with the multiple disabilities must be there. They are very good in studies, but they do need to go long hours for the therapies, whether it is speech therapy or whether it is behavior modification or occupational therapy. Very often from the mainstream school, they are not able to go. So possibly, especially in the early years, the therapist needs are much more. This is really very, very suitable. Yes, I think the slides are over. Now I would like to add just 2 sentences, ma'am. And now we are talking so much of NIOS, but how many people are benefited? Yes, the CBSE board.
We have Kairali ji. I think now we have the stalwart. We have directly from NIOS. Dr. Mahapatra has joined.
Yes.
Welcome to Sukanto Mahapatra, the academic advisor for the NIOS. So he's kind enough to join. Well, so welcome to you, sir. So it's a very big morale boosting for all of us that you have been able to join.
Good
See, there are a couple of things which I want to share. Sukanto-ji, would you like to speak or you want me to share? So, in spite of being unwell, he has joined. So, I will share. So, the latest developments of NIOS includes they have included sign language.
Yes.
So, at the secondary level, which is something which it is, I would say that not many countries could do something to this level. And Sukanto ji also has got the UNESCO recognition for taking this initiative. So we really congratulate and we are very proud of NIOS. We are very proud of you, sir. And then there are guidelines, examination guidelines for students with disabilities. So that is another thing that has come out. So I'm sharing latest developments and also disability-friendly textbooks, learning books. So it is there. I request Bhavani to share the latest brochure of flyer of NIOS, which Sukanto sir just shared with me. Bhavani, will you please share? ಇನ್ನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಫಾಂಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ನನಗೆ ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ. So this is the latest one. There, it looks at the academic programs, vocational skill development programs, and open basic education programs, which Kairalaji has explained. And we have this national portal, no, PME Vidya. So I think people need to really make optimum use of it, because most of the knowledge is accessible now and available on this portal. So please have a look at it. And ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬ್ಲೂ ಕಲರ್ ತಗೊಂಬಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಓದ್ತೀನಿ ಅದನ್ನ, ಭವಾನಿ. So NIOS has given a lot of flexibility. It is almost like a 24/7, and support service is given. Next page, Torsama. Next one. Yeah. So 24/7 online admission, barrier-free education, fee concession, and freedom in selecting subjects, and flexible examination which system which Kairalaji has explained, but a lot has been added, and accessible cashless system. ಇನ್ನೊಂಚೂರು ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾ? Okay. And inclusive study material and question papers. So sometimes I fear if NIOS with this vigor, if it starts working, I would say that a large number of children, not only children with disabilities, may opt for NIOS, because it is very, very learner friendly. I would say that NIOS is very learner friendly. I think a lot of what is happening in NIOS will be also reflected in other boards, whether it is CBSE or state boards, because it is the child-centered and learner-centered approach that is what is going to help us in achieving the equitable inclusive education as stated in NEP Chapter 6. So I'm really happy that you're all able to join, and now the session is open for questions. Dr. Rangsaiji, you had raised your hand first, and then Sumash Shastri. So first I will go with Rangsaiji.
In fact, I just wanted to compliment Kairali Madam and for such excellent description. And I just went back. I was also part of running a center, SAI for NIOS. And I still recall a couple of decades ago, in fact, how a deaf girl who was 14-year-old, for the first time she came for intervention. Believe me, in 5 years' time, she passed her school final. And then in the next 2 years, she also got married. And the entire process helped so much in shaping the life of that one girl whom I can very fondly recall. That not gone to school, not wearing hearing aid, nothing at all till 14 years of age. So that was a wonderful opportunity that I could share how NIOS could be of such great help. Thank you.
Thank you. No, as I work with parents for the last 30, 40 years, whenever I see NIOS, it's one thing which I can really take the stress off from parents' mind, because there's so much of stress when we look at formal education system. So whenever I refer children to NIOS, the stress has been removed in parents, which is also reflecting the way children are helped. So NIOS is very great because the mainstream education is increasingly becoming stressful to parents. It is a fact. All the research studies also shows that. So NIOS is not only child-centered, child-friendly. I also see that as a family-friendly program. So it really understands the difficulties when it comes to fees or flexibility and all that. It is extremely family-friendly, parent-friendly program in the country. Suma, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, can I, am I audible?
Yes, yeah.
Kairali ji, thanks a lot for a wonderful presentation. The first 10-15 minutes I couldn't join. Probably missed a few things. One is the inclusive school where I consult. We have 4 to 5 children who are just about 7 years, but their cognitive levels are good. They are between 6.5 year cognitive level. They are doing well in elementary Montessori, and we are about to register them. And can they do it even if they are not 7 years? That is
No,
question number one.
yeah.
And question number two, what is the timeline for registration? I mean, is it open throughout the year, or is there a specific date or
There
deadline?
there are specific times. It is NIOS board, if you go to the website, they will be flashing the thing
Right.
that is
Okay.
starting from, I think, from March to August 1, and then September to March 1. And a 7-year-old child to register for grade 3 is depends upon whether the grade 3, it will be difficult for the child straight away.
I request, Kairali, I request all of you to visit the NIOS website, where the website link has been pasted by Sukanto ji. See it now, it is very open. It looks, it is like 24/7, no admission. So you please have a look at it and follow that. So I think there's a lot of flexibility that has come to that. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
the next one is Uma Krishnan.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Kairali ji.
Uma Krishnan, and Reshma, and
Yeah.
Sudha Kanta.
Thank you, ma'am. Excellent session. I really learned so much. Thank you, Kairali ma'am, and Indumati ma'am. Thank you so much. This question, ma'am. Now, children with specific learning difficulty, parent is going for, let's say, exemption of languages and continuing the same board. And one more option is enrolling to NIOS. Which one would you suggest, ma'am? Going for, which is a better option? Parents sometimes.
It is depending upon for some reason, as I told you, there is always this feeling that NIOS is only for special children. It is not par with other boards, which is not correct. So CBSE, if the child is doing well in CBSE with the exemption of one language, if the child is able to complete, there is no need to change. So changing also, there is nothing wrong, because they are equal par boards. There is nothing to feel worried that if the child finishes through NIOS, the child will not get admission in any college or anything. Anywhere you can get. I have one of our students who very severely disabled has finished his PhD and doctorate, and he is running his own office now in stocks and shares. And he was dead against NIOS, but he had no choice being in a special school. Slowly we took him through. What I am trying to tell you is it is par with them. But if they are getting the exemption, and if the child is continuing there, and if the parents are not so much for NIOS, it's perfectly all right. They can continue. There is no which one is better. This has got more flexibility. As Dr. Indumati Rao mentioned, it is a family friendly. There is less stress, and financially it is much slow. That is the only difference. Okay.
Thank you.
The marks card comes with. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah. The marks card comes with the child with learning difficulty, no, ma'am, when they go for exam.
No, never. Nothing. That is the misconception.
State Karnataka State Board gives, ma'am. It is given.
State Board has got that when they have done it, but CBSE no. But when you see the CBSE, if the particular subject is not done, it is understood by the college authorities that child had some difficulty in the language, and definitely it is good, isn't it? In the college also, the child gets the special accommodations for him or her. Yeah. So there is nothing like that. The NIOS does not write. CBSE also does not write. They never write the disability at the bracket. They just cleared the CBSE 10th or failed the CBSE 10th. Okay.
Thank you. I just want to announce tomorrow we have Professor Anupam Ahuja from NCRT, and the topic is something which we are all learning. We really don't know what it is. That is universal design of learning. What is that? What is UDL? And how do we really bring UDL into our classrooms? How do we really bring UDL into our inclusive schools? It is something which is being discussed, and we are all learning. And please do not forget to join the session tomorrow. That is same time at 5 p.m. And one more announcement, which I am very happy to do it, is the US government, there is the Division on Special Education, to organize the global conference on inclusive education in July 2023. They have chosen India, they have chosen Bangalore, they have chosen CBR Network. So, and the focus will be on inclusive education, and there will be a lot for learning on what exactly UDL means, because we are all looking at UDL is the way of life. So
Absolutely.
for teachers in inclusive schools, but we want to learn, and people like me, Kairali ji, we are all very keen on how to make UDL relevant to Indian context, because UDL has to be very contextual. Kindly stay in touch with us for the conference announcements, which will happen very soon. The next in the queue is Reshma. Reshma, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much, Kairali ji. My son's recently been diagnosed as being neurodiverse, so I'm new to this world. NIOS comes across as the most progressive board I have seen in India. So, kudos to everyone who designed it. My quick question was, and I haven't looked at the NIOS website, I will do so immediately afterwards. I'm keen on understanding resource available for me and my son to navigate class 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in Bangalore specifically, especially the parent contact program, I think it was, Kairali ji, that you talked about.
Yeah.
Would you be able to shed some light on that?
Oh, see, there are so many schools. If you just go into the net and put it NIOS schools in Bangalore, there are lots of schools, part of the mainstream school like DPS or Army Public School or Clarence. They have school there. There you can put the child in your 9th grade and can complete the 12th from there. Or there are private tutors who are helping. Of course, they charge a lot, even though they are not supposed to charge so much, but they charge a lot. But if you could put that your child into a mainstream schools which is running, having an NIOS, that will be ideal, because the child will not be losing out on any of the other facilities available in the school. So you could, I don't know, you could call me. Maybe Bhavani, you can give you my number. You can call me. I can suggest you depending upon where you are staying. Are you in Bangalore?
Yes, I am. And in fact, he is going to DPS Bangalore North, and
Yeah.
I am to speak to the school to move them into NIOS now.
Yes, yeah. It is very good. DPS North is excellent for NIOS. We are the ones who started that, we helped them out, and they are doing extremely well. And they give them all the children the same treatment. So you have done the correct thing. So do not feel bad about it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
And the next one is Shanta. Yeah. Shanta.
Yes. Good
Sudha.
evening to all of you. It was a wonderful presentation.
Thank
I
you.
just want to clarify some of the doubts the parents were asking, because I'm from the higher education. When a
Yeah.
child finishes class 12 and is seeking for admission into college, they do admit all children who have come from NOS, and some of them are very smart, unlike the regular stream one. But only sometimes we find a disadvantage, because Karnataka pre-university board has 2 marks cards, and NIOS has 1 marks card, because of which we had to really fight to get admission to some children. They do give, but I only wish that the universities do understand the NIOS norm, because our local board gives 2 marks cards, first year and second year. They insist that they also, I mean, colleges like I come from Mount Carmel College, they insist on seeing 2 marks cards. So that's a little hurdle for us to clear. But otherwise, children do get admitted. I mean, they have no issues, and they do wonderfully very well.
Yes,
And
then
I have one question to ask.
yes.
How do we develop an accredited agency? I mean, how do I become a part of one for me to, I mean, work for them? Or how do we set up an accredited agency, ma'am?
So for the to answer your first one, yes, some of the universities, initially Karnataka University per se also was giving us a little trouble. Now there is a, if you go into the NIOS website, there is a circular which is issued by the NIOS telling that no university can decline. Thing. We have children in all over Christ University, Reva, Jain, everywhere. There is no problem. And they have to understand that 11th and 12th is done in 2 years. So it is not that we have done it in 1 year, it is in 2 years. But only thing is total number of subjects we divide and do it in 1 year. Subjects. So they do have 2 mark cards, but not they do not call it as 11th and 12th. for the PUC. And so usually what happens is the children who are doing 10th from NIOS, it is very, very advisable. It will be nice for the child with less trauma to continue the 11th and 12th and join for the graduation. That is what we usually advise. But of course, there are parents who would like to do. And then also, if there is any support is needed, the same support which they got for accommodation they've got, they can go back to the same person who assessed the child and get a letter from them that the support is a lifelong. Suppose the child needs a scribe, it is a lifelong. Suddenly the child will not improve the writing from 10th to the college. So you can get one more certificate from them, Mahan, whatever it is. So that is one. About the accredited agency, names of accredited agencies available. You can, depending upon which area you live or where your children want to get admitted, you can contact them. For any school to become accredited agency, there is a form you have to fill up, and there has to be minimum number of children and the lab and all the facilities which is normally needed for a school agency. And they come for an inspection and they clear you and they give you a number to become an accredited agency. That is clear.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think Uma Krishnan has some additional question. Then after that we'll go to Sudha Murthy, and Naveen Taj has a question.
Yes.
So I think we can take 3 questions. Yeah. Uma, would you like to go with?
No, sorry, ma'am. I'm unable to lower my hand. No, I don't have any question. Thank you.
Okay. Sudha, would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, hi. So, in Tamil Nadu, we have a lot of, I've been working with a lot of children who've given the NIOS using various modes, be it the computer, be it, AAC and things like that. But recently, we are finding it difficult that we had 2 issues. One, that a girl who had finished her 10th with NIOS but did her 12th in the regular state board had a difficulty in registering with the bar council. She's a lawyer. She did her bachelor's in sociology and then she did her law. But we had to really advocate and with the Bar Association in Tamil Nadu, only because she had given her 10th through the NIOS. And the second thing that's happened is in Tamil Nadu, they do not accept an NIOS 10th for their state UPSC exams.
Which is,
and I mean, I'm particularly addressing this to the person who is in charge of NIOS as part of this, because we would like to really advocate with the government. This is in Tamil Nadu.
You can, both of these things are, I mean, it is not a reality, but there must be having some.
No, there is a circular. It's a reality because it's a circular. See, I do a lot of advocacy work, and I have actually, I can send you the circular. I can even send the circular.
Sudhaji, I request you to send a copy of the circular.
Definitely, I'll do that.
Send a letter. We would certainly like to take it up.
We can take up
because the NEP very clearly talks about no discrimination, no difference with the stream of the way the child chooses. So as far as the child is concerned, there should not be any disadvantage. NEP is very strong about it. We'll definitely take it up.
Yeah.
Naveen Taj, you have a question? Yeah. Please send it to me. I'll take up the issue.
I will. In fact, that's why I wanted to address it to the person in NIOS. We will take it up ourselves.
I will do it. You please send it to me. I will make sure.
Also, your regional director's office, you can go personally and hand it over. They are usually very friendly people. They can.
I know. I've had people using a head switch and using a scan chart on the computer, giving their 10th. So we've kind of used every possible option to
kindly send it. Sometimes
I'll do that. I'll do that.
To the topic, we'll do it.
I'll do that.
Naveen, you have a question, Naveen Taj? Naveen? I'm unable to hear that. So now it's 6:27, so we need to.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello,
Naveen,
am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Hello.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Hello, good evening, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a doctor by profession,
Yes.
and I have my master's in mental retardation and rehabilitation. But I am doing my general practice, not much into these of the academics. And just I graduated a certificate from the National Education Policy, the first teachers examination. I just passed it. And now the Swayam platform is there, madam.
Yes.
They are offering lot of courses.
Right.
Have you anything for me so that I would join a little bit of into the academics and help people?
I think this question is not directly related to the subject today, but
Yes.
Dr. Naveen, what I suggest is you please send me an email regarding
Yes,
SWAYAM
madam.
courses and how you can access them, which are the
Yes.
courses I should be able to help, because two courses which we have developed, one is already on SWAYAM.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I will help you in that regard.
Okay.
We are
Thank you
coming
so
to
much.
the end. Only 1 minute left. Thank you very much, Kairali ji, for this excellent input. And thank you very much. As usual, you are so particular about the precision. It is a precision-based presentation. Thank you very much. The entire video we can be seen on IRIEC Inclusion Bharat website. So we'll be uploading in a day or two. So the whole thing will be accessible for everyone from anywhere from the world. So I also thank all the participants, and also thank Dr. Mahapatro. In spite of being unwell, he has joined us and he has shared the latest development in NIOS. So thank you very much, sir, for joining this session. So kindly also join tomorrow's session by Dr. Anupam Ahuja on UDL, and I look forward to seeing you all again. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Happy Dasara
Thank you.
for everyone.
Thank you,
Happy
madam.
Dasara.
Thank you for
Same to you. Same to you.